Hello and welcome. You are watching the Trey Heart 2020 Total Heart and Health Transformation channel. I don't know about you, but when I start any health transformation, I have to have a starting point. So today we are going to be talking about setting your starting point. Stick around. So when it comes to health transformation, and especially weight loss, we have to have a starting point from which we are going to go from. So one of the things that we're going to start with is we are going to start with our weight. So one of the things I would like you to do is, if you do not already have a weight scale, then I would like to invite you to invest in a cheap set of weight scales, and so that we can continually use these to monitor our weight as we go throughout our journey. And so what we're going to do with our weight scales is we're going to, first thing in the morning, we are going to get up after we've gone to the bathroom and before we've eaten breakfast, and we're going to weigh ourselves. Now, we are going to do this with as little on as possible, and we're going to do this at least once a week after this. But we're not going to do it any more frequently than once a week, I should say, after this. So our starting point today, or our starting point tomorrow, I should say, is we're going to weigh ourselves first thing in the morning, or first thing after you wake up, whether that's in the afternoon or in the morning. Some people work night shifts. So we're going to do it first thing after we wake up, and we are going to weigh ourselves. And so this is going to be our starting point for our weight loss journey. Another thing is to become aware of the BMI scale. Now, if you have been watching me for any length of time, you know that I am not a fan of the BMI scale. But it does make a good starting point. Now, here's one of the things you do is look up the BMI scale for you. And, it's based on your height and your weight. And this is one of the things that you're going to write down. Now, if you've also been following me for any length of time, you know that I'm a fan of journaling. And I'm a fan of writing things down. So write it down. But be aware that the BMI scale is not a true reflection of who you are. Matter of fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he won the Mr. Olympia contest, actually had a high-end BMI. So in theory, he was technically overweight, but yet you and I both know that he wasn't. So, but it does make a good starting point. So this is a good starting point. Now here's the last thing I want you to do is, if you are on a weight loss journey, then I want you to write down your waist circumference. Now, if you are a man and this is 40 or above, then this is typically too high. Okay, if you're a female and your waist is 35 and above, it's typically too high. And the same goes opposite. So if you're a man and your waist is typically under 40, then it's okay. And typically if you're a female, if it's under 35, then it's okay. Now, just be aware that at least for the men, this applies for the heights of between 5.3 to approximately 5'10", 5'11". So if you're taller than this, it may not apply to you. And as well, if you're shorter than this may not apply to you. And for women, it applies to if you're up to 5'5" approximately, and if you're over 4'11". Now, so if you're above 5'5", I should say, it doesn't apply to you. You may need to be slightly larger around the waist for your waist to height ratio to be correct. But as well, if you're smaller than this, then you might need to be smaller around the waist than what is suggested. But typically below 35 is okay any which way. So these are your starting points. Now, one thing I want you to remember, if you remember nothing else, that these are only a guide. And for you, look at your BMI scale. Now, one of the things to look at when it comes to your BMI scale, if you are above 25, that is, and up to approximately 30 on the BMI scale, if your waist size is within those that I've just mentioned, you are actually perfectly fine. Remember, it is about a body change and about a health change. And if you've been watching me for any length of time, you will realize or know that I'm an advocate of fat loss more than weight loss. And yes, if you lose fat, you do lose weight, but you could be, I'm an advocate of being at least tone and a little bit tone and muscular. So if you have that toneness and your waist is below 40 and you're a male, but yet your BMI is still a bit high, you're probably where you need to be. Okay? And so remember another thing. As we start our journey into our health change, in the next couple of weeks, we are going to be talking about habits, good habits and bad habits that we might want to stop. And one of the things to realize is that it doesn't have to be difficult. It's usually our habits that got us to where we are, not necessarily good habits. So it's sometimes bad habits that's caused us to gain the weight or caused us to not be, want to exercise. Okay? So as we go through this, it doesn't have to be hard. When we talk about our things in our next couple of weeks, we talk about habits that we can exchange for the habits that might not be so helpful to us. So remember, our journey is our journey. It doesn't have to be hard, but it has to be tailored for you and by you. So I hope you have found this video helpful. If you have, please press the like button down below. And if you're not a current subscriber, please subscribe. Remember, your health is your wealth, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.